Critical thinkers. Why is it important for young children? Children need to be critical thinkers. This is such an important part for a child's future. Children need to be taught at a young age how to think critically. If they aren't taught early, then they'll never get it. If a child has guidance on becoming a critical thinker at a young age, then it's easier as they get older. But they need those skills. Parents and educators are vital components to the effectiveness of this process. If a child doesn't have that good role models and teacher, then they don't ever become critical thinkers that are going to help them in the future. So how can parents become involved? Sometimes parents jump in too quickly. When a child needs help, the parent is right there to automatically give them the answer. Parents want it done their way. Parents sometimes want the child to do it perfectly, but that doesn't always help the child. So we need to give our child an opportunity to solve it first. You can show them how to do it. You do it together, and then let them do it. We call it an I do, we do, you do. And children learn by watching you, and they see how you solve problems. And they are soaking up all that information and can easily pick up what you are doing. So parents, take a step back, give your child some time to solve the problem before you step in and help them. How can parents and educators help their child become critical thinkers? They can first provide opportunities to play. This is a great opportunity for young kids to learn how to solve problems. They may not solve it the first way, right away, but it's okay. So we call this our cause and effect. They try one thing, they see how it happens. They try another thing, and they see what happens. They're learning by themselves, and that is such a key part in helping your child become a critical thinker. They see how things work. They are very intrigued. You know, when a parent is right there constantly telling them what to do, they don't find that desire to go out and look for answers themselves. So just make sure your child has plenty of time to play. I know that kindergarten doesn't have as much play opportunities, and that we are trying to get that back into the system because playtime is so important for kids at the young age. They learn so much just by playing. Another thing parents and educators can do to help their child become a critical thinker is to ask open-ended questions. That way you're always getting that child thinking, they're going down a different path, and a good question is, I'm interested to hear your thinking about this. So don't always tell them what to think. Try to get them to think on their own and answer in a different way. Don't solve all the problems immediately. Like I mentioned before, it is so easy just to quickly give your child the answer, but that does not help them in the end. You want to provide enough support so the child doesn't get frustrated, and just don't solve it for them. Continue to give that guidance so it becomes their idea, their solution. Another way is to help children develop hypotheses. Make a prediction. My students in kindergarten love to make predictions, and it becomes ownership to their thinking. We talk about it all the time, that it's okay to be wrong, and obviously they want to be right, but we talk about failure, and that it's okay. Not everybody is going to be right all the time. With these hypotheses, you always have that cause and effect as well. A child can see, because I did this, this happened. Encourage thinking in new and different ways. It's easy for students nowadays to just go to Google. Well, we got to guide children on thinking other ways to get our answers instead of just always going to the computer. You know, maybe their dad has the answer, or grandma has an answer, their neighbor. Where else could we look to solve the problem? Just branch out their ideas instead of they're not focused on just one way. Support your child to do research and to expand the information. Kind of goes along with that first slide that we just looked at. You know, where else can we look for the answer? Okay, we found our answer. What other questions might we have that goes along with this topic? Where else could you find these answers? Just always getting them thinking instead of just going down that one straight path. Okay, I found my answer, I'm done, and move on. Support your child to expand and look further and deeper into their understanding. Support your child to do research to expand the information. This goes along again with that other one. What other questions might you have? Where else could you find these answers? Just always getting your child thinking. Another thing I want to talk about is low versus high level of thinking. This is so easy for teachers to stick to the low level thinking, the who, what, when, where, and why. But I encourage educators and parents to, instead of asking those questions, have your child create something, make a prediction, apply what they learned, compare, make that text-to-text connection or that text-to-self connection. Have them design something. Describe to you in their own words what they just learned. Explain to a friend. Contrast. What are the differences between things that are something that you have been working on? And imagine other possibilities. That just gets your child to think out of the box. Some other ideas. Observe and draw conclusions. Compare and contrast. Discuss and analyze stories. And learn cooperatively. Having your child work with other kids to solve problems is so critical. It's a great way for them to completely think on their own. As an adult, it's easy to give the answer and to tell them what to do. But children working together is so fascinating to watch, especially when they come up with their own ideas and they find the answers to their problems. Provide stories without conclusions. This is a fun activity that my students really like to do. Before I end the story, we stop and I have them help me come up with the way the story should end. Then it's fun to finish the story and see how close we were to coming up with the right conclusion. Exercise their minds. We always talk about how TV has such a negative effect. So get them out exploring, trying new things. And I had mentioned this before. Teach them how to think, not what to think. I got a lot of my resources from an article called Developing Critical Thinking Skills in Children from Bright Horizons Family Solutions, and all of my clip art was retrieved from Google Images. This PowerPoint would be a great way to open up discussion with my colleagues about how to encourage our children to be critical thinkers in the classroom. But I think also it would be great communicating with parents and getting them on board with working with their child at home as well, and giving them ideas and resources on how to push their children to become more of a critical thinker that will obviously benefit them in the end.